Yep. Good. Just another headphone.
Mm.
Okay.
Where are these now? Our participants are from, I check.
We have about 2 participants outside from Indonesia, I think.
Mm. It seems there are new participants.
Yeah.
I mean, new names. Mm?
We have another.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already sent you for the if assignment form. Did you
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it?
I just
Okay.
update the question on this.
Okay.
I already forwarded to me the assignment this morning.
Okay. We'll open it after the session.
Yeah. Stop my video because are you in the office now, San?
Yes, yes. This week is my shift, so next week I will be working from home again. We have
Oh.
5 days we have to work from home, and 5 days we have to work at the office.
So that's the arrangement, huh? But
Yes.
how is the pandemic in Indonesia? Is it
Sometimes it getting better, sometimes getting worse.
that's it? That's really the case, huh? Also in the Philippines.
Fluctuative, very fluctuative.
But it's really quite alarming, the
Mm,
pandemic this time, because
yeah.
many countries are really, so much affected, like India and other countries.
With the new variant.
Yeah, with the new mutation, what's that? Mutated virus,
New type, yeah.
new type. I don't know. I wonder. I hope that all this will be gone in very, very soon.
Yeah.
In,
But it
mm,
seems it cannot be disappear after 3 or 4 years.
that's really a big problem because our economy is going down
Yeah.
and people suffer a lot.
It's hard for the government to maintain.
It's
It's
really,
yeah, really hard.
yeah, it's really very, very hard
Mm-hmm.
because of the flow of the goods. The globalization of goods and products,
Yes.
and people are not working, and who will buy and you know,
Mm.
who will produce.
Yeah.
You know, it's really very, very alarming. I am really,
Sure, sure.
thinking about what happens next. But
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, we go back to the olden times.
Yeah, you're right.
And in the olden times, people survive, right?
Yeah.
With just having a rice and
Yeah.
vegetables, people survive.
Yeah.
We
But
go
it's
back
really
to
hard
that.
for the education. The student cannot be at home all day to get the education. They have
That's
to come to
that's
school.
another thing, the education.
Yeah, it's really hard for them. The internet connection sometimes is not stable, and some other places there's no connection at all. It's a
True.
challenge.
It's really a huge problem. It's a global problem, and
Yes.
global to local. Eh,
Okay, we already have 15 participants. Should we start now or we just need to wait a few moments?
Mm,
You want to start?
maybe we can start.
Yep. So
Maybe we can
Okay.
start, and they will just come maybe and follow us.
Okay, if you want to start now.
What do you think? What do you think? It's
Ah,
already like 10:05, or shall we wait for another 4 minutes, 5 minutes?
I think we can start now. We have to stick to our schedule, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And Miss
Mm.
Me will open the session, right?
yep.
Okay. Okay, I need to prepare something. Okay, Miss Me, can you open your camera? Okay, wait.
Mute.
Mm, yes, please.
Yep.
What?
Hello, everyone. I welcome you to our webinar program. My name is May, and I'm the IT at SEAMEO RETRAC, Vietnam. SEAMEO RETRAC is one of the SEAMEO Southeast Asian Minister of Education organization center in the region. SEAMEO RETRAC hosts a webinar since 2018 in the collaboration with its sister center, SEAMEO Simulate, Indonesia. We are now in our webinar series 2021. This is our first lecture in our webinar series 2021. Our topic for today is teacher leadership in multicultural environment. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. Our webinar is video recorded. Please watch and listen to the video. The video takes less than 30 minutes. For your comments and questions while the video is played or after watching the video, please type them in the control panel. I will bring them up to our later. This video is followed with the question and answer portion. And the participant will receive the webinar certificate free of charge by completing the assignment 1 week after the webinar session. The guideline of the assignment is put at the end of this webinar. Now, without further ado, I will introduce to you our lecturer. Our lecturer is Dr. Anita C. Oblina. Dr. Oblina obtained a doctorate degree in educational planning and management in the Philippines. She was the assistant to the vice president of academic affairs at Xavier University, Philippines in 2014. The dean of faculty and academic affairs at FIMA Canadian the Oral College in 2015 and 2017. And she holds the post as Senior Education Specialist at SEAMEO RETRAC for a number of years now. She has been working as curriculum developer, instructional material designer, trainer, researcher, and lecturer. She is very passionate to expand the leadership and management skills of the teachers, school leader, administrator, and school officer in South Asia region required in the rapid and dynamic change of the learning environment in Asia and beyond. May I now give the floor to Dr. Oblina.
Thank you.
Maybe your
May
camera,
for
can you turn your camera? And then, oh yeah.
moment. Okay. Thank you, Miss Me, for your kind introduction. To all our participants, welcome to our first webinar series 2021. I would like to mention again that our topic for today's webinar is teacher leadership in multicultural environment. As already mentioned, this is a recorded video, so I would like to invite you to watch and listen to the video. And I will be delighted to hear your questions, insights, opinions, and experiences you would like to share with us after watching the video. So, let us now play the video.
The first session of our webinar series 2021. I would like to let you know that our webinar series 2021 includes 8 topics. It will be done every month and it will end in December 2021. As said earlier, our topic today is teacher leadership in multicultural environment. The key points includes what is the concept of teacher leadership in multicultural environment? How has teacher leading the multicultural environment handled students' differences inside and outside of the classroom? And how can the teacher foster cultural awareness in leading the multicultural classroom? Let's now start. What is the concept of teacher leadership in multicultural environment? The Institute for Educational Leadership provided a broad and progressive definition. It is suggested that teacher leadership is not necessarily about power, but about teachers extending their presence beyond the classroom by seeking additional challenges and growth opportunities. The study of Michael Cosenza describes teacher leadership in multicultural environment. His study resulted to 5 distinctive themes that define teacher leadership in multicultural environment. 1. Collaboration. 2. Sharing best practices. 3. Taking action. 4. Role modeling. And 5. Formal leadership roles. Theme 1. Collaboration. Collaboration, when defining teacher leadership in multicultural environment, focuses on situations when they work with their grade level or departmental colleagues. Teachers act as leaders when they collaborate in this manner because they can make decisions that will offer better learning experiences for their students. Through this type of collaboration, they believe they are also simultaneously providing support for each other, which they saw as another way to demonstrate teacher leadership. Theme 2, sharing best practices. Although the sharing of best practices is collaborative in nature, it is being reported separately from the theme collaboration because participants were very specific about its impact on individuals and its contribution to teacher leadership. Sharing best practices when defining teacher leadership offer opportunities to share teacher successes in the classroom with other teachers, especially those teachers who may need extra support. When teachers are successful, they can demonstrate leadership in the school by sharing their knowledge and their teaching strategies with others. They're empowered as leaders when sharing these practices because they can influence others and provide guidance to their peers. The underlying belief that this is also empowering because the sharing of best practices has a positive impact on the learning of young students. This process is reciprocal in nature, and the teachers who share can become enriched in return when others share their best practices with them. Teachers can learn from others' best practices as well. Sharing best practices is truly an exhibition of leadership. A leader teaching leaders. Theme 3, taking action. The theme taking action focuses primarily on the notion that teachers should be the drivers of their profession, as opposed to sitting back and waiting to be directed by a principal or some other person in an administrative role. Taking action in defining teacher leadership points to decisions having to do with curriculum choice, program improvement, materials for instruction, student placement, and anything that affects the learning outcomes of students. It is believed that when teachers take action in making decisions in these areas, they are acting as leaders. Also, teacher leadership is found in those who take action at the school by advocating for change or encouraging others to support something new. Taking action is described as directing and guiding the learning process in the classrooms by doing whatever is necessary to meet the needs of the students. Taking action can also be viewed as reaching out to the larger community to achieve goals and objectives, including other teachers, students, and parents. Theme 4, Role Modeling. Role modeling is viewed as an obligation to demonstrate respectful behaviors, professional dispositions, and high-quality character traits. Role modeling can be done in two different ways. One, teacher leadership as role model for students, and two, teacher leadership as role model for colleagues. Teacher leadership as role model for students. Teachers mentor students, provide guidance to students, and lead students by example and demonstrate by example the potential the students have for success. Teacher leadership as role model for colleagues. Teacher role modeling goes beyond the classroom. Role modeling is an important component when interacting with colleagues, like lead by example within the staff itself, and share ideas, open and listen to ideas, and be able to show by example. And theme 5, formal roles. When discussing formal roles in defining teacher leadership, these refer to traditional roles that exist at school sites, such as department chairperson, grade level representative, union representative, and a member of various leadership committees. These formal roles give teachers the opportunities to effect change or serve as a representative of their peers in a larger group. The teachers believe that educators in schools have clearly defined roles which determine their level of leadership and influence. They believe that being appointed to formal roles are empowering opportunities and overall seem to view leadership as something that is official in nature, requiring a title. There is an underlying belief that unless teachers have one of these roles, they have very little voice in the decision-making process. Teacher leadership could extend beyond the formal roles by sharing responsibilities or lesson planning. This moves us to the second key point of this webinar. How has teacher leading the multicultural environment handled students' differences inside and outside of the classroom? Culture is a broad term and one that is not easily summed up. In her book, cultural learning, the fifth dimension on the language classroom, Damon defined culture as the learned and shared human patterns or models for living, day-to-day living patterns that pervade all aspects of human social interaction. Culture is mankind's primary adaptive mechanism. Individuals from varied nationalities, ethnicities, and races all bring cultural traditions to their interactions, and it's up to teachers to recognize, celebrate, and share these different perspectives. Teachers should handle these differences both inside and outside of the classroom to improve student learning. And they are as follows. In the classroom, academic performance. Students are taught to process and understand ideas and information in different ways based on their cultural upbringings, meaning teachers may need to adapt lesson plans for multicultural classrooms. Student-teacher relationships. How students treat authority figures and what they expect from them differs across cultures. While Asian children tend to be more formal, other cultures may have very informal structures for student-teacher relationships. Classroom engagement. A complex blend of factors influences how students engage in the classroom. Students from impoverished background may struggle to focus and participate, and English language learners may be less likely to speak up in class. Handling conflict. Cultural responses to conflict vary significantly, and it's vital for teachers to be aware of these differences so they can mediate effectively. Some students are taught to avoid conflict at all costs, while other cultures see conflict as a positive and constructive exercise. And solving problems. Given the same set of information about the problem, students from different cultural backgrounds are likely to suggest a wide array of solutions. A teacher's job is to validate a range of approaches and help students understand that there are multiple ways to solve a problem. Outside of the classroom, food and diet. Studies have shown that malnourished children struggle to remain focused and to retain information, so they are more likely to fall behind. Different family structures and socioeconomic factors can influence the nutrition students receive at home. Socioeconomic status. Socioeconomic status can influence school performance in many ways. For instance, some children may not be able to afford proper school supplies, causing them to struggle with homework assignments because they don't have the right tools. Language. If a child is the only English speaker in their class, getting help from their parents or siblings on school assignment may not be possible. Some students may also have extra duties at home to help their parents communicate with others, taking time from their studies. Family structures and values. Students come from all different types of households, from single-parent families to multi-generational homes to parents of the same gender. Family structure and values can influence how students see themselves, interact with others, and their attitudes towards school. Religion. Whether adhering to specific duties or rules set forth by the religion, or missing class because of a religious ritual, students from religious backgrounds that are less common may have trouble balancing their different priorities. Ethnicity, race. Different ethnicities and races have specific ideas about education and how to learn, some of which may clash with ideas of classroom behavior or learning techniques and disabilities. In addition to cultural differences, students with physical or learning disabilities face an added obstacle to their learning. And students with family members who have disabilities may have different perspectives of education or less assistance with homework. In this changing educational landscape, teachers are challenged with creating inclusive classrooms where students of all backgrounds feel represented and welcome. This brings us to the third and last key point of our webinar. How can the teacher foster cultural awareness in leading the multicultural classroom? Teachers should actively demonstrate to their students that they genuinely care about their cultural, emotional, and intellectual needs. There are 6 strategies that can be used to build trusting relationships with diverse students. 1. Express interest in the ethnic background of your students. 2. Redirect your role in the classroom from instructor to facilitator. 3. Maintain a strict level of sensitivity to language concerns. 4. Maintain high expectations for students' performance. 5. Incorporate methods for self-testing. And 6. Maintain an inclusive curriculum that remains respectful of differences. Express interest in the ethnic backgrounds of your students. Encourage your students to research and share information about their ethnic backgrounds as a means of fostering a trusting relationship with fellow classmates. Analyze and celebrate differences in traditions, beliefs, and social behaviors. This task helps students realize that their beliefs and traditions constitute a culture as well, which is a necessary breakthrough in the development of a truly culturally responsive classroom. Also, take the time to learn the proper pronunciation of student names and express interest in the etymology of interesting and diverse names. Redirect your role in the classroom from instructor to facilitator. Reduce the power differential between the instructor and students. Students in an authoritarian classroom may sometimes display negative behaviors as a result of a perceived sense of social injustice. In the culturally diverse classroom, the teacher acts more like a facilitator than an instructor. Providing students with questionnaires about what they find to be interesting or important provides them with measure power over what they get to learn and provides them with greater intrinsic motivation and connectedness to the material. Allowing students to bring their own reading material and present it to the class provides them with an opportunity to both interact with and share stories, thoughts, and ideas that are important to their cultural and social perspective. Maintain a strict level of sensitivity to language concerns. In traditional classrooms, students who are not native speakers often feel marginalized, lost, and pressured into discarding their original language. In a culturally responsive classroom, diversity of language is celebrated, and the level of instructional materials provided to non-native speakers are tailored to their level of English fluency. Accompanying materials should be provided in the student's primary language, and the students should be encouraged to master English. Maintain high expectations for student performance. Given that culturally responsive instruction is a student-centered philosophy, it should come as no surprise that expectations for achievement are determined and assigned individually for each student. Students don't receive lavish praise for simple tasks, but do receive praise in proportion for their accomplishments. If a student is not completing her work, then one should engage the student positively and help guide the student toward explaining how to complete the initial steps that need to be done to complete a given assignment or task. Incorporate methods for self-testing. Another important method for helping students become active participants in learning is to reframe the concept of testing. While testing is usually associated with grades and therefore stress, frequent non-graded tests can be used to provide progress checks and ensure that students don't fall behind on required material. Teaching students to self-test while learning new information will help them better remember and use this information on their own when they need to study a topic in greater depth. And maintain inclusive curriculum that remains respectful of differences. A culturally responsive curriculum is both inclusive in that it ensures that all students are included within all aspects of the school and it acknowledges the unique differences students may possess. A culturally responsive curriculum also encourages teachers' understanding and recognition of each student's non-school cultural life and backgrounds. It provides a means to incorporate this information into the curriculum, thus promoting inclusion. Teach all students how to synthesize cultural differences into their knowledge base in order to facilitate students' personal and professional success in a diverse world. This helps students from a minority ethnic racial background develop a sense of identity as individuals, as well as proudly identify with their particular culture group. Teachers can play a big role in leading these students succeed through fostering cultural awareness in their classrooms. We have just finished a webinar session titled Teacher Leadership in Multicultural Environment. The key points we discussed were the 5 themes of teacher leadership in multicultural environment, the different ways that culture affects students' learning inside and outside of the classroom, and the 6 strategies to foster cultural awareness in leading a multicultural classroom. I would like to end my presentation with a quote. We need to help students and parents cherish and preserve the ethnic and cultural diversity that nourishes and strengthens this community and this nation, by Cesar Chavez. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, we have just finished watching the video, and I guess we are now going to proceed to our question and answer. So, May, do we have some questions now?
At the moment, we didn't have any question yet. Dear participant, if you have any question, please type in the Q&A box. I will bring them up to Dr. Abina.
I think they can also like use their microphone in asking question.
We have
Either
one question from Chun Jae. What problem do teachers and other educators face when they try to implement multicultural education?
it's a very interesting question, Jay. What problems do teachers and other educators face when they try to implement multicultural education? There are really lots of problems, especially when that multicultural education is firstly introduced. Um, One thing for sure is that teachers should be able to understand what is the concept of multicultural education, and also understanding the I would say the diversity of the learners in multicultural education, the the purpose of multicultural education. Now we see when we speak of multicultural education, we're embracing diverse learners so that it will really be a big preparation on the part of the teachers and educators and whoever will be implementing that. There will be a series of, um, I would say, orientation. There will be a series of understanding better the curriculum. And in the classroom, for example, now that is in the multicultural education per se, but when you are going to apply that in the classroom, you've got to understand the students you have, like their cultural backgrounds, um, the diversity maybe of their languages, like if you have students from different races, and you have to understand them. You have to see their backgrounds in terms of their culture, in terms of their practices, in terms of their beliefs, in terms of their, uh, values and the shared values of these students. Because, as mentioned earlier, all this would affect the learning process of the students. It will take extra mile on the part of the teachers to reach out their students and being able to understand them better, then the teachers can shape, and I would say integrate in the presentation of the curriculum during the class session, considering the needs of the students in a diverse classroom. So I guess in terms of really implementing the multicultural education, you really have to understand what it is about and what is its purpose and who are your students. And then you can uh, do in process, you have to adjust and let the students feel that they belong in your class and see the needs of your students so that you can address the needs of your diverse learners. Okay, I hope I have answered your question, Jay. And if ever you have some follow-up questions, then you can just write down.
We have question from Dian Novita. I think I sent to Miss Me.
Okay. Teaching multicultural classroom is surely challenging. Okay. Moreover, in this pandemic situation that we have distance learning when we do not meet the students face to face, How can we reach out the students and set up the multicultural education for them? Very interesting question. Uh, Diane Novita. Okay, now pandemic time, we have no way to have face-to-face class with our students. The only way is to use online, a remote class. And how to reach out to set up the multicultural education to this kind of education we have presently, I guess of course, we are following on the curriculum that we are teaching. I guess what you are trying to tell here is that how can we be effective teacher using maybe multicultural education, I would say considering the diverse learners we have using online teaching. Along with that, I would suggest that there will be extra time, of the teacher to connect their students, to be able to know their students, um, to know the concerns and the problems and the issues the students have that might affect their learning, that it would either slow down their learning or maybe tempting them to stop from their studies. They may be having some problems. So, uh, teachers can implement multicultural, I would say, education by spending extra time to students online. Our online class is subjected to just one period, for example. And we focus on that period to deliver our lessons, to teach our lessons to our students, the target lesson of the session. There might be no time for us to really be able to communicate our students in a manner that we would be able to understand their concerns well, that would affect their learning process. And then, aside from like spending much time or extra time to our students, we may have also the listening heart to them. We need to listen to their stories. We need to listen where they are. We could not just impose what we would like to impose them because this is really important. Distance learning and um, face-to-face learning are two different methods of delivering the lessons. We are aware of that. And so in the distance learning, I guess we should be more kind and passionate to our students without jeopardizing the quality education that we are uh, adhered to do. Okay, so I guess that's one thing that I could share about, setting up multicultural education in our present time, like in the distance learning. Okay, I hope I have shared with you, Diane, something that might help you. Do we have more? What is that?
Gain information about the culture, ethnicity of the student and unit. You need to know the behavior of the student so that you can set up a good relationship with your student.
Okay, so this is from J. Irvin. Okay, so this is your opinion now, June J. Yeah, you're right. Um, we need really to take time to study and gain information. Yeah, about the culture, ethnicity of the students, their traditions, their beliefs, their family values, and many more about them. Because they would affect to their behavior, of course, their attitude, and also it would affect to their learning process. And that's one way knowing them would help build good relationship with our students. And I understand what you mean here, good relationship, because when we have good relationship with our students, students would be inspired and motivated to study and to learn more, and they will be more very cooperative in the class. And there will also be that respect that would go along, with that kind of relationship. It's a good relationship. And you're right, I agree. We need that to maximize the learning process of our students. I guess John J is from the Philippines, huh? Sid mabuhay. Welcome. Mhm. Okay, so far. So there is no more question.
Yep, it's not like we have covered on our question. So is there anything else you would want to cover before wrap up the editor?
Okay, since no question so far, and
No questions so far?
at this time, I'd like to thank you so much for participating our webinar, and I really truly admired your presence with us today. And I know that there may be more questions, but others are not ready yet. And we can as well have some insights, not only questions, but insights and opinions about the topic. But at any rate, thank you so much for being with us, and it's my pleasure having me with you today. And thank you for joining us.
Okay, Miss Me, you can close the session and I will inform for the participants about our assignment.
Yep, so that's it. on for our webinar today, and you are invited to our second webinar in June 2021 with the topic Resilience in the Workplace. The detail will be announced through our sister center SEAMEO.
Okay, thank you very much. And for the participants, we have announcement for you regarding the assignment and the e-certificate. Please wait a moment. I will share it in for you. So after this session, we have assignment for you. You can check on this link. And don't forget, go to the news and updates tab on the same link to check your assignment. And then all of the presentation materials will be sent to your email address maybe a few days after this webinar end. And don't forget to join our upcoming webinar on the next month. Thank you very much. I will let you to take a screenshot for this information, maybe about 30 seconds. Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Anita and Miss Me. We'll see you again on the next
Thank you
one.
so much, Sunny. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you, everyone.